Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. Oh, my goodness. I am thrilled to share with you just an amazing lady and what she's done for others with her books and everything. We have with us today Judy Wilkins-Smith. She is a highly regarded executive coach, family patterns, systemic work, and constellations expert, speaker, and author who is passionate about individual growth. She's the founder of System Dynamics for Individuals and Organizations. She has 20 years of expertise assisting high performance individuals, Fortune 500 executives, Chevron, JP Morgan, Kellogg's, ExxonMobil, and legacy families and limiting cycles and create lasting breakthroughs and transitions into peak performance. She is a regular guest on TV, radio, and podcast, and is the author of the bestseller, Decoding Your Emotional Blueprint, a powerful guide to transformation, which has been translated into 7 languages. She's a beacon of insight and wisdom, offering invaluable perspectives on how to use genealogy to explore ancestral patterns and transform your life. And today we're going to be talking about her book, The Hidden Power in Your DNA, which was absolutely fantastic. I loved it, Judy. So first
I'm
off,
so glad.
welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I mean, you do such amazing work and what you've written. I would love to hear some of your background and kind of what took you in this direction.
What took me in this direction was very interesting. My background is born and raised in South Africa. Worked in the medical field, and then moved over to the US for a business opportunity that didn't go quite as planned. Then my father was killed here, and it was either write books or go crazy, and I decided crazy probably wasn't a good option. So I started writing books. I stumbled into family constellations, and I think the rest is pretty much history. I then went over into organizational, and that took me into executive coaching. And at the same time, I was doing a lot of live events, still am. And people kept saying, you have to write a book. And I was like, I don't want to write a book. So the first book arrived. And then they said, well, now you have to write another one. And I went, I don't want to write another one. And the second one arrived. And so now the third one's on its way. And I'm not saying I don't want to anymore. It's clear that I'm going to write the third one. The third one, I think, and I haven't said that to anyone, but I think it's probably going to be money DNA because people are fascinated by that.
Wow. Wow. Well, first off, for those that aren't real familiar about our DNA and all the different aspects, share some of that with us, please.
Okay, so up to now, we've talked a lot about physical DNA. People know about physical DNA, whatever amount they know about that, they know something. They know they've got it. They also know they don't have to see their mother or father to have that physical DNA. It's there, whether they fancy it or not, it's there. And I think what people don't know is that the same goes for your emotional DNA. You also inherit your emotional DNA, your patterns of thoughts, feelings, actions, reactions, things that you would never even begin to imagine. And those patterns go very far back, generations back. And they affect us in ways that we don't realize until we suddenly hit inexplicable walls, or we start to repeat the same old, same old, same old, and we can't figure out why we're stuck. That's when we go looking and listening to see where that pattern originated, if you have that information. So where did it originate? What was the originating event? How does it affect you? And what is it asking to become through you? Now, if you don't have that information, what I say to people is timeline your life. Have a look at the issue that you're working with, and then timeline your life. When did that first start happening for you? What was happening in your life at the time? What do you think about it, feel about it, do around it? And pretty soon you're going to see your patterns emerging. And that's when the big change happens. So I'm going to stop there because that's a lot.
Wow. Wow. So when we kind of get an idea and discover what some of our emotional DNA is, what would some of the first steps be to kind of make some changes there?
Well, I think the first step is to write down all your thoughts, feelings, and actions about whatever that issue is, and then ask, when did that start for me? What was happening in my life at the time? What did I make it mean about me? What did I make it mean about others? And is there anyone else in my family system who may have a similar pattern? And then what you want to do is you look at the pattern that's trying to stop. So it's telling you, I'm not working for you anymore. I may have been a solution once upon a time. I'm not a solution now. Conversely, when you then start to wish, dream, and imagine, I wish I could, I wish it was, I would like it too. What you're now doing is you're moving in the direction of your future, your destiny, what needs to happen. So that's the pattern that's trying to emerge. And what you want to do is do the same thing. Write down how I would like to think, feel, and what I would like to do. But here's the trick. You've got to make it so exciting that it pulls you past the old patterns, which also means you've got to use elevated emotions like joy, gratitude, enthusiasm, and you've got to really invest in what that is. And it starts to rewire your brain. Now you're having different thoughts and you're having different feelings and your body feels different. And so you're no longer going to be the person you were. It's with thanks to the ancestors that we begin to create our own future. If we don't look at what's happening, we keep repeating until somebody gets tired enough to say, I'm done. I want more. I want it to look different. And then we create different emotional DNA. And that gives you an epigenetic imprint, which then begins to activate different on-off switches on your genetic code.
Oh my gosh, Judy, that is so fascinating.
Well, yeah, it tells us that you're not a victim. You're truly not a victim. We'd like to pretend we are, or we'd like to think we are stuck. But by simply beginning to work with those thoughts, feelings, and actions, you can literally rewire your brain and your body. And once your brain tells your body a story that the body believes, that becomes your new truth.
Wow. That is so exciting and so amazing that we can get out of something we feel stuck in. We can change it and actually
Very
change it
much.
physically, mentally, and then it'll kind of work into that pattern, correct?
Absolutely. And in fact, once you start doing it, you begin to look at what you're holding on to and you go, why? And it starts to shift things. Or you look at the news and you go, ah, I wonder what was behind, or I wonder what happened in their life, or I wonder. It also takes out judgment. It takes out judgment. You don't look at the person and go, stupid. You look at it and go, huh, I wonder what happened to you. Very, very different approach.
Yes. So it makes me wonder. I've always been very gratitude based, and I've always loved starting my morning with thinking of one thing I'm grateful for to set tone of my day. So is that creating a pattern?
That's creating a pattern of gratitude. Yes. What you would want to perhaps add is say, what is one thing I want to stop and what's one thing I want to start? And then just work on those two little levers. And when you've got that settled, then okay, that worked. What is one thing that's maybe just a little bigger that I want to stop and start? And pretty soon you start to take control of your own life instead of some whimsical random universe out there that really doesn't exist in terms of random. And you start to be a participant in that universe and your adventure.
Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. That is so exciting and that is so wonderful to share. Oh my gosh.
It's fun.
Oh, wow, wow. And in your book, you talked about other DNA, such as health DNA, business
Sure.
DNA. Share some information about those. I was absolutely fascinated with that.
Yeah, so the emotional DNA is the big umbrella, but under that is money DNA, health DNA, relationship DNA, career DNA. Anywhere that you have a problem or an issue, anywhere that you have a calling, that's one of those emotional DNA branches that's going, come on, we need to grow, we need to do something over here. So if you look at money DNA, I teach, that's one of my favorite ones to teach. It's why you will or won't, can or can't have money. And if you look at it and you just sit down and write down all of your thoughts, feelings, and actions about it, you're going to see very quickly why you can't. I have people who will come to me and say, I want to be really, really wealthy. And I go, okay. So tell me about wealthy people. And they go, well, they lie, they cheat, they steal, they never do it honestly. It's terrible. And I go, so you want to be a liar, a cheat, and a thief? And you want people to think you're terrible? And they go, well, no, no, no. So what's different for you? Well, yeah, if you want to think that way, you can't be in harmony with money. And people don't understand that money is a relationship, not a commodity. And the way that you show up for it is the way it will show up for you. Same thing with relationships, same thing with careers. I had somebody who came in and said to me, I'm in big trouble. I'm about to be promoted to a major. And I went, okay, you're about to get a promotion and you're in big trouble. Yes, I can't do that. No, it was I'm about to be promoted to a colonel. That's right. I can't do that. I'm a major. I can't do it. And he was panicky. And I said, well, okay, tell me about your dad. Well, my dad was a major. And your grandfather, he was a major. And your great grandfather, he was a major. And he said, a major is good enough for everybody in this family. If you aim too high, you're going to be in trouble. I can't be anything higher than a major. So he had the answer, but he hadn't heard himself with it. And after sort of working with it, we realized, or he realized that, hold on, a major back then was probably pretty much equal to a colonel right now. So it was safe to take the step. But he had such an unconscious loyalty to the major, the major, the major that he couldn't get past it. And we all have these little bugbears that bite us. So I always say to people, think about where you're the most dogmatic in your life, where you're unshiftable, where it's this is it. This is my red line, because your red line is exactly where you want to go and look. That's what's trying to get you to change. That's what's trying to get you to stop one pattern and start the next. It's right there.
That red line, that red
That
line.
red line, the I'm not, or the we can't,
Yeah,
or the really dogmatic views about all these are bad and all these are good and all this is, all of those where we're super, super hard-lined and dogmatic. Go and have a look at that. Ask yourself where it started and ask yourself, do I really, really want that to still be the truth?
yeah. And then we can cross over that red line, can't we?
Absolutely, because the minute you start to challenge that and then move past it, what happens is now the truth, which by the way is actually just your truth, may change. You may look at that and go, well, I really don't need to hold on to that. I really could decide that instead of it being love or money, it could be love and money. I really could go and be the colonel. I really could. It's what can I? What could I? And when we start to challenge that, very often we see that what we've been holding on to is just a belief system. So who said it was the belief system?
Yeah. And that belief system doesn't have to be permanent, does it? Because we can make
No,
those
no, it
changes.
really doesn't. It keeps asking you to expand it and expand it and expand. And we go, got one. And then we hold on to that one. We've got that fish. We're not moving now. Well, try another fish. You don't have to lose what you had, but being bilingual is not terrible either.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I mean, that just opens so many doors, doesn't it, to what we can
It
do.
really does. If we would get out of our dogmatic ways, we would find a world of possibility.
Oh, wow. So then can this be something as simple as I can do this, or I will do this, and opening up That
I'm doing this often
I'm
is, you know
doing
what,
this.
I'm doing that. I'm doing that. It takes you out from I will or at some time or I can. It's, you know
I'm
what, I'm
doing
doing that. Takes you suddenly out of being stuck here and into that, and you'll find you align. And I mean, we do it all the time. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm doing the nursing thing. I'm doing the podcast. It's once we commit to it completely and we feel it in our body that that change starts to make at least take place.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, this is just so, so huge and so wonderful. Oh my goodness. Now, let's talk a little bit about health DNA. That
Sure.
that fascinates me.
Well, yeah, because what happens is great grandmother had a heart condition. Then grandmother has a heart condition, mom has a heart condition. Now I have a heart condition. A lot of that is unconscious loyalty to great grandma who had it. Well, she died, everybody else dies at 50. Everybody dies at 50. Okay. When you then look at it and go, you know what, I've got grandkids coming up and I really want to see them grow up. I'm not doing that. What can I do to change it? We suddenly start to look at health differently. We go to the doctor, we do the checkups that nobody else did because you didn't need a checkup, you just dropped. We go for the checkups, we start doing what it is that we need to be able to shift that pattern. If it's a genetic one that we inherit, it's still what can I do that they couldn't? What options do I now have that they don't? And you keep working it until that becomes a non-dominant situation or health condition. And so it's yes, it's if you're doing this work, it can happen that quickly. It can. I've seen it happen that quickly, but for some people as well, let's be logical. I've just given you the logical explanation. We can, however, rewire our minds and bodies that quickly. If we've got the elevated emotion, if we're completely aligned, which is head, heart, and gut, it can happen that quickly. And people will flip and not go back. And so that people will say to me, how's that possible? It's not possible. Well, think about it this way. If somebody has a really, really traumatic experience, it can happen to them within 5 minutes or 20 minutes. They never forget it. It's in their body. They feel it. They get triggered. Exactly the same is possible for transformational patterns. When we lay it down that quickly and it's with an elevated emotion and the whole body feels it, it can take hold that quickly. And now everything starts to realign around that. And the same is true for many health conditions.
Wow. And
Which doesn't mean I'm saying don't go to the doctor. I say to people all the time, go to the doctor. We need to know what's happening. Then we can start working. And so I'm really lucky. I have a lot of doctors who will say, go and see her. We've done all the tests. Don't fully get what's happening. You need to go and see her first. Let's understand what's going on here.
and that tells us, doesn't it, that mindset can make such a difference in our health.
Makes a huge difference in
Wow.
our health. If people just understand when we're in a difficult mindset with stress and all of that sort of thing, we're cascading negative emotions. Those are literally starting to erode the body and make us sick. When we do the opposite, where we're in an elevated situation, that cascades completely different emotions and hormones. And those hormones start to heal the body and they start to bring us into alignment. And you see people going, well, I meditate every day and I do this and they're really well. Yeah, because they're maximizing the body's potential. The other way, we're minimizing the body's potential.
Oh, Judy, our bodies, our mind are so, it's so amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, we have amazing, and I don't even want to call them machines. Vehicles is probably a better word, but boy, we're not really good at taking care of those. I have recently started, if something jars me, which it takes quite a lot to do, but if something really jars me, saying to myself, wait, what are you doing to your body? Stop right now. What are you doing to your body? Because the way you feel right now is going to cause things to happen. And I may not feel it now, I may not feel it tomorrow. But do I want to feel an effect later on? No. Is it worth me getting into that frame of mind? Absolutely not. So how do I want to feel?
Oh, wow. That, this is so powerful and so fascinating. Oh my gosh. I just can imagine what you've seen and experienced over the years in your DNA studies and helping others. Is there anything in particular or example you could think of to that you might want to share that was just kind of a wow for you?
Oh, I have so many.
Ah,
Yeah, I think somebody who came in with a particular medical condition, and of course I'll be really discreet, but um, it was a medical condition that she'd struggled with. And when we kind of went into it, she was carrying a lot of guilt because her sister had become ill. And her sister, she thought, was the prettier one. And she was mad at her sister and thought, well, what would happen if you weren't here? So, of course, sister gets really ill and she's got all of this guilt she's holding on to. And we kind of went through the whole process. And it reversed a lot of the disease process for her because she was holding on to an unconscious guilt and loyalty to a sister who had become very ill. So that one I know I've always looked at and gone, wow. The other one that fascinated me was somebody who came in and she kept getting these ovarian cysts, but they would, I think it's Graafian follicles, and they would sort of grow really big. And she was on number 6 and she was struggling, and it looked like number 7 was forming. And we found out that there had been 7 miscarriages that were not mentioned and not talked about in a couple of generations before her. And what we know with systemic work is if you do that, it will find a way to bubble up and be noticed. Whatever you try to exclude is going to create a pattern that expands and repeats. And when she could give all of those a place in her heart, and she didn't want to give them a place in her body anymore, but in her heart, as a sense, it stopped. So yeah, we have really powerful things that we're able to do with our minds and our bodies. Really powerful.
that is such a thing to celebrate.
It really is. It's why I wrote the second book as well, because it's not just about you and what's going on for you. It really is about generations before. And more importantly, if you look at genealogy, you've got genealogy 1.0, which is, hey, I'm on a family tree. I belong to Louis the 14th. That's genealogy 1.0. But genealogy 2.0 is go spit in a bottle and have a look at which region you come from, and then start looking at what happened in those regions, or what, if you have more information, what happened in my family system? What are the big events? Because the big events generated big decisions, and the big decisions created big feelings, thoughts, and actions, which became big epigenetic patterns. So you really want to pay attention to that, because that then goes to genealogy 3.0, which is, so how am I being affected? And what do I want to do with that? Really, really important. So that was the whole point of the second book.
Oh, wow. Share with us any information, website, or anything you want to share, and maybe give us a little hint of what your next book's going to be about.
Sure. So anybody can reach me on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, uh, Spotify, you name it, I'm pretty much all over. And they can reach me at judywilkins-smith.com. That's my website. They'll find my books. They'll find constellations, meditations that take you through a whole process. And then they'll also find my live events. I'm actually doing a live event at Disney World about fear DNA starting November the 1st. It's next week. I will be down at Disney World doing it for 4 days. And I do that once a year. I do this highly immersive event. I have other events that are happening. Those will happen next year. And then the new book. The new book, I sort of have a toss up between victims and perpetrators and money DNA. Money DNA is a really big one because money is not just a commodity. As I said, it's a relationship. It's also spiritual flow. And once you know how to work with it and how to be around it, money is the most delightful, wonderful, incredible mentor, friend, ally. It's also a disciplinarian, and it will withdraw very quickly if you want to not play with it. If you don't want it to be there, it will not be there for you. So it shows up for you the way that you show up for it.
Wow. Oh, I love it. Oh, Judy, that is so fantastic. We have just a couple minutes left in the show. What last message do you want to share with everyone today, Judy?
I think everybody has an adventure, and it's only when you recognize that you really are on a life adventure that things start to change. It doesn't matter where you are now. That's no measure of where you can be once you decide and choose to do it. And I would say transformation is not for the chosen few. It's for those who choose it. It's that simple.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. So, so just making the choices, making them now, making
Making the
them
choices,
today.
committing to the choices, and you will get the results. If you commit to the choices and you commit to them with elevated emotions, you cannot not get there.
Oh, Judy, thank you so much. That is so amazing. And um, it just fascinates me how we can do so much and change our lives with our thinking. And I loved your remark about, because I've always said I will. I'm going to say I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
doing.
doing it.
Yeah,
Something that simple can make so that can change the wiring.
it absolutely does. I'm doing that. Oh, we are? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, yeah. And just get us out of what we're looking to get out of and move on. And
Yeah,
oh, I just
we're
love
really
it.
brilliant magicians, but we don't realize it. We're doing casting spells on ourselves on all day long. I'm terrible. My heart says yes, my brain says yes, and my gut cringes. We're really good at that. What we've got to get good at is I can do that. I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Head says yes, brain says yes, heart opens, gut goes, let's go. And now you've just told your brain has told your body the story that your body can believe, and you're off.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. That is so fantastic. Oh, Judy, thank you so much for your information, your wisdom, your caring and sharing all of this. I'm so grateful to have had you here today.
You are so welcome. It's been such fun to hang out with you.
Oh, thank you. And have so much fun at Disney World.
Oh, I always have fun at Disney.
Oh, boy. I love hugs and blessings, everyone. Judy, love hugs and blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take good care.
Thank you.